Hi everyone, I'm really sorry about that. If you could hear any static, I'm really sorry about that. I literally I thought I'll start the stream 5 minutes, put the card there, went off to make a cup of coffee, and then somehow I got static ringing in your ears, messing about with all the stone people in the in the chat. Really sorry about that. Yeah, mine's a sativa later. Titch, I'm with you. Yeah, a few I thought I was being paranoid. Yeah, Teach, I think you started a little too early, to be honest. Calm down. Put it down. Rest it. Take it easy. What do you think of US regime change classes, says Keith Durant. Great idea, isn't it, Keith? What could go wrong? Could go wrong. I'm sure that will be something I'll talk about in the coming days. Weed killers kill your neurological system, so mystery. Yeah, there's a big thing been going on in America at the moment, isn't there, with Monsanto. I'm right. Let me take this off. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. So I don't know how I'm in a good mood tonight, but I am. I'm in a good mood. Because I've actually been watching Rachel Maddow videos all day and clipping up stuff from Rachel Maddow, because I'm doing a story on this, which I'll just quickly go to right now. I'm doing a story on this because you know how I'm actually going to be talking about in the now tonight, and something that CNO are doing. I'll touch on this, but that's going to be a bigger story that I'm doing, because you know how the media have been attacking. First of all, they attacked Bernie Sanders groups on Facebook. Do you remember Maddow's? That's why I'm having to obviously go over Maddow's segments on it, because that's how I came to know that Rachel Maddow was full of shit. That's how I first came to sort of be aware of her. And then Adpocalypse came. Remember, Adpocalypse was on the back of the Wall Street Journal attacking YouTube for playing ads on ISIS supporting channels, even though it was like 2 or 3 instances a day out of billions of hours that are uploaded to YouTube. That's how they cut the legs from underneath independent media back in 2017. And then obviously they attacked again. They attacked Jimmy Dore. You might remember putting in an article with paedophiles and bloody Nazis. You know, and I'll go into depth because I'm actually going to be touching on a story about it tonight, but I want to I've been listening to Rachel Maddow all day. My God, that woman is insane. She's insane. Seriously, I think there's something wrong with her. Because if she honestly believes what she's talking about, she really needs to be in a straitjacket. But of course, she doesn't believe that. She's highly intelligent. And now they're actually going after Reddit. So they've done Twitter, they've done Facebook, they've done YouTube, and now they're going after Reddit by saying basically people in the way of the burn Reddit subreddit are, I mean, it says here, it just goes in this article, I consider it extremely suspicious, said Josh Russell, a prominent analyst. I've got to go into this article and do my research on it to dissect it. But he said it's more likely that Way of the Burn is a false flag run by alt-right people than Russia. I know the people who fucking run Way of the Burn, okay? Josh Russell. And the thing is, he contacted them, and I'm actually talking to them. I'm going to put this story together and go through all the instances of how the media have done this in the past to fucking silence us, and show they're doing it again here. This time with Reddit. Ian56 has recently been banned off Reddit because of stuff that the journalists have pulled up. So he was banned for a short time from Reddit. I don't know whether he's been allowed back on, but it stinks. It bloody stinks. And I'll do what I can to expose it. So, yeah, that's why I don't know how I'm in a good mood, but because I've been listening to Rachel Maddow rant on all day, and having to clip segments up, and like I don't need to go into it, but hey, feel sorry for me. I've had to listen to Rachel Maddow today. Maddow is worse than O'Reilly says. Tell Caris. She's dangerous. She's more dangerous than Alex Jones. I've said it on one of my videos. She's more dangerous than Alex Jones because she's got a much bigger platform. And you know what? Her audience takes her seriously. Alex Jones's audience, for the most part, doesn't. Alex Jones or Jones's audience, for the most part, tunes in just because he's really, really, really entertaining. They tune into Rachel Maddow because they think that she's telling the truth, and she's mad. She's insane. She's Uncle Torino says, thank you, Gordon, for tagging the hit for me because I can't stomach watching Rada and Maddow the Red Scare crazy. You're welcome here. You're welcome, Uncle Torino. I am here for you, sir. I'm here to at your service. I'll get to that in a second. Reg Smith says, Gordon, you are wrong about Article 50 extension. There's no parliamentary majority as Cooper amendments failed. May cannot extend Article 50 with removal by the Brexiteers and irrevocably splintering Tory party into oblivion. Reg, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong about Article 50 extension. No parliamentary majority as the Cooper Amendment failed. Yes, the Cooper Amendment failed, but remember the Cooper Amendment was to extend Brexit for a year. They realised that was unpalatable, and now all of a sudden they're floating an extra 3-month extension, extra 2-month extension, blah, 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 blah. And of course, if there's one 3-month extension, there's probably going to be another. Sorry, Reg, I'm not wrong about Article 50, mate. It can be extended. And I've had to make this argument with people for about 8 months now. Yeah, I'm not wrong. Nikki M says, I heard the PLP. Remind me, PLP, is that the parliament? No, it's not the parliamentary, is it? I can't remember what it's, CLP and PLP. I can't remember what they stand for. The ones the Council of Labour, something or other, and the other ones. Anyway, I heard the PLP give a round of applause to the Maleficent 7 because they'd gone, or they wished they'd joined them, as their mainstream media were saying, or just thanks to the few good things they got done. Let's face it, Nicky. I mean, come on. These people were always going to be voting against Jeremy Corbyn anyway. Whether they were in Labour or out, they were always going to be there causing trouble, you know. And they knew that their days were numbered, so they jumped. They jumped ship before they got outed in mandatory reselection, and it was going to happen. Making magic happen. My mum bought me this cup. Isn't she wonderful? Parliamentary Labour Party, yeah. There's Parliamentary Labour Party, and there was the other one, the Councillors Labour Party, isn't it? The CLP. What I've been finding out is through research into Labour Party and blah blah blah, is it's not just at parliamentary level either that the Blairites are a problem. That the Blairites are half the party. Actually, if you go into the CLPs and the PLPs, from what I'm finding, people are saying actually, the Blairites outweigh the progressives in Labour Party, you know, overwhelmingly. So the Labour Party have got a problem then, if that's the case, a real problem, because people like me could go into the Labour Party and kick up a stir and get rid of them because we're principled, and we'd be able to make an argument and they wouldn't be able to argue against it, and they'd have to back down or call me an anti-Semite. They'd obviously do the latter. But they can't have principled people like me in the Labour Party because our principles stop us from being in the Labour Party, because obviously, as I've said before, they'll accept a war criminal like Tony Blair, no problem, but they'll eject somebody like George Galloway, who was right on the Iraq war and spoke truth and has morals. They ejected him for that, kept Tony Blair on the books. So obviously there's a problem there for people like me, because people like me know I'm not going into that organisation, because if I go into that organisation and I can't start saying the things I say inside that organisation, I'm going to end up on the outside of the organisation, a pariah like Mr. George Galloway. So they've got a fucking problem. The Labour Party have a big problem. From what I can tell, they are aware of it, but obviously they have to be, because they are a socialist party, they have to be extremely democratic in the way they go about things. Therefore, that's why this mandatory reselection process is such a strung out sort of affair, with so many hoops they've got to go through, because they're trying to make sure that it is a democratic process and not sort of mob mentality that get people gone. I can see it is a problem that they're going to have to address, but the Blairites are overwhelmingly outnumbering the progressives in the Labour Party. One person said it was 2-1. I'm not sure whether that's true or not. But yeah, it's a big problem. It's a big problem, and there's no way I'm changing my mind. Not at all. Not unless they were to apologise and ask George Galloway to come back. If they were to do that, then it's a party that has morals. Until it does that, it's a party that says lots of things, but actually doesn't back it up with their actions. Because if they really are an anti-war party, they wouldn't have war criminals in the party whilst ousting people who are anti-war, who have told the truth about war and have been treated like a pariah for it. Yeah, I would, Khalida. Yeah, I'm sure you do, Nicky. I'm sure you say whatever you want within the Labour Party. I'm sure you do. But for somebody like me, yeah. I would never tell people not to join the Labour Party. In fact, I encourage them to. It's just, that's my stance. And I know it's frustrating to people. I get comments, whenever I say this, I get comments saying, well, you know, you can't be part of the movement from the outside. You can only change it from within. To which I say, well, you know, if only I had, I don't know, a YouTube channel or some platform that I could use to actually change things from the outside. So, I mean, that argument is, you know, it's a non-argument, that is. I will not join them, but I will put pressure on them for them to change from the outside. And I think it needs that because, you know what, I do support their policies. But they've got to have the conviction, the courage of their convictions to actually see them through. There are certain things. He's not radical enough for me, Corbyn isn't. And that's where I'll be hitting him. I certainly won't be attacking Corbyn from the right, if you know what I mean. Yeah, San Andreas says George is retrying to join the Labour Party. Hope they use common sense and allow him back. If they do, I will reconsider. I can't say I will definitely join, but I will reconsider. Yeah, that's basically it. That's where my stance is. I understand it's frustrating. I understand, especially if you're a fan of the channel and you're a fan of what I do, and you know that I support the policies that you support, and you're in the Labour Party trying to change things. You know, it's obviously you want as many voices there as possible to change things for the better, change things for the many and not the few. But yeah, until they change their stance on certain things and they start actually acting like a party that is anti-war, I'm not going to join. Because if you're going to just let people who are war criminals carry on in your party and eject people who have been telling the truth about war and treat them like a pariah for 20 years because of it, then what it says to me is you might say you're an anti-war party, but you're not. Not really. Because you accept war criminals in your party, which is exactly what Tony Blair is. He's a war criminal and a liar. There are 500,000 people dead right now because of him and George Bush. George Galloway has never killed anybody. Nobody's ever died because of something George Galloway has done. Tony Blair, 500,000 Iraqis aren't here because of him. And thousands of American soldiers and US troops as well. But he's in the party. He goes on the BBC all the time and talks about, hey, we've got to remain in Brexit. We've got to push Labour to get a second referendum. You know, he doesn't fucking stand for anything that the Labour Party stands for. I found out yesterday that Juan Guaido, this might be wrong, by the way, okay? Full disclosure, this might be wrong. Please fact check me. But Juan Guaido is a member of a socialist party. Believe it or not, this corporate CIA-backed, you know, CIA American puppet that they're trying to install in Venezuela right now. He's a member of the Socialist Party in Venezuela, a party which fucking Tony Blair is a member of. Now, I've found that from one place. I've got to double check it. I've got to cross check it. So, but that's the sort of person Tony Blair is. Tony Blair is a member of the same party that Juan Guaido is a member of over in Venezuela. It's obviously not a socialist party. It's just a front. But yeah, that's who Tony Blair is, and he's in the Labour Party, and George Galloway isn't. Uncle Trino says, I heard that too, Gordon. Yeah, that's why I gave a disclaimer, Uncle Trino, and said, I've got to double check this. But I did see it from a fairly reliable source. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but it's a fairly reliable source. And I've got to double check it and get a second confirmation. But yeah, that's just a little something to back up my rant. Right. Let me just see where I am, what I need here. Need any of that? No, 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 no. I think this is all here. Hi everyone. I do like a laugh. I really do like a laugh, especially when covering politics, and because it can be really quite, you know, get you down and be downheartening and quite disappointing sometimes. But there are times when there's a news story that you just find hilarious because it's just wonderful, and this is one of them because the DUP have released a new slogan. You know how each party has their own slogan. Obviously, Labour have for the many, not the few. The Liberal Democrats have change Britain's future. The Green Party have something, it's not really that catchy, Green Party. I think maybe you need to change your messaging. A Green Party for the confident and caring Britain. It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it? And then you've got Conservatives' slogan, which I assume forward together, strong and stable is some ancient language which means screwing the poor with the universal credit on austerity. But they've all got their campaign slogans, and the DUP have come out with theirs. Now, I don't want to say that the DUP haven't really truly thought this all the way through, but you make your own mind up, because here's Arlene Foster at the launch, and here's what the DUP said on Twitter. Our slogan for the election will be 3 words which sum up the party and our team. So it's 3 words that sum up the DUP and our team, and it will be strength to deliver. Now, I'm pretty sure that when Labour and the Liberal Democrats and the Green Party and the Conservatives, when they came up with their slogans, they paid a consultant firm, they actually went to think tanks, and they obviously, all these professional outlets have certain things that they do and safeguards to make sure, I don't know, the acronym for your new slogan doesn't read STD, especially when it's below a statement that says our slogan for the election will be 3 words which sum up our party and our team, because people like me are then going to say, well, yes, strength to deliver is correct. STD are 3 words which really do sum up your party and your team, because we can't bloody get rid of you no matter how hard we try. This is a party, remember, that thinks the dinosaurs didn't exist, or thinks the dinosaurs are fake. This is what their party is. I've said when there was the election in 2017 and they had this coalition with the Tories, the best way I heard the DUP's manifesto explained is it's the Old Testament with fortnightly bin collections. That's essentially what it was. They think the earth is 6,000 years old. They don't believe in abortion under any circumstances whatsoever. These are the 10 MPs that are, you know, got the Tories by the balls right now. These 10 MPs whose party who believe the earth is 6,000 years old, which I seem to remember that these are the people, if you say to them, hold on a minute then, well, if you say the earth is only 6,000 years old, what about these dinosaur bones? These bones that we've looked back and we've proved are 65 million years old through, you know, carbon dating. What do you say about that? The DUP are the sort of people that will come back with a response sort of, the question isn't whether the earth is more than 6,000 years old or not. The question is, who put those dinosaur bones there for you to find? That's the sort of people the DUP are. Sort of people who don't go out and get some advice, and when they come up with a slogan, to make sure that it doesn't have the acronym STD. These are the 10 people who control the fate of our country. These 10 MPs from the DUP. Aren't you happy and proud that you live in such a democratic country as the United Kingdom? STD. I laughed my ass off when I saw that. Oh dear. The UP is evangelical Christians, fundamental terrorists, says Keith Joanne. I won't go that far. They've certainly got the United Kingdom by the balls at the moment, that's for sure. Yeah, they are. Hoppy Rabbit just said DUP members must sound like right-wing Christians in the US. They are. They would be classed as the Christian fundamentalists that went for Trump bigly in 2016. 86% he got. 86% vote, I think it was, he got of the evangelical Christians. What is he? Divorced 3 times, shagging all over the place, grabs women by the pussy. Evangelical Christians are going, yeah, that's our man. Oh dear. The hypocrisy. You're showing your age, Gordon. They're called STIs now, says Nicky M. They're on to me. Oh no. They haven't changed them, have they? They haven't changed it. Oh dear. Okay. Let's get to the story I want to get to. I haven't written any notes for this either, so I'm going to have to wing it. Because yesterday, these 7, the Maleficent 7, as I've been calling them, George Galloway has been calling them the 7 Dwarves, and he's been doing some excellent commentary from his back garden, George Galloway has, which has been fantastic on YouTube. But I couldn't look away from these 7 that broke away to start this independent group, this centrist group that nobody wanted or asked for that they've set up. I just want to quickly show you this because the Dorset Eye is so good. Angela Smith launches new racist centrist party. This is, of course, Angela. I talked about this in the video yesterday. This is one of the 7 who launched this new party, and within 2 hours, she was on the BBC saying it's not about colour or those who are a funny tinge, and she was going on to say, and those who are a funny tinge. At which point I thought, Angela, I'm wondering, this guy, Chuka Amuna, what funny tinge do you think he is? Of course, he's not a funny tinge, is he? I'll come back to that because that's key, that is. I've really been thinking about this today. Although it's been a bit of a hilarious story and we have had a lot of fun with it, it's bloody serious as well. Because she made that comment and then 5 hours after they had launched this party, they had to launch their first apology for a racist comment. You couldn't make it up. The party has left another party calling that other party racist, and then within 5 hours of that party being set up, one of those members is having to make an apology for a racist comment she made live on air on the BBC. Rachel Swindon, by the way, somebody I rarely, I disagree with half the time because she's on the opposite end of the scale to me as Brexit, but she's been doing some brilliant work on this. She honestly has been comedy genius. I don't know whether she did this herself, but I saw it. And this is the
from Politics Live. I'm very sorry about any offence clause, and I'm very upset that I misspoke so badly. It's not what I am. I am committed to fighting racism wherever I find it.
Just putting the music to it, really, it added Just so much huger. And by the way, a special credit to whoever thought of that and decides to put the video in a funny tinge. I thought that was a really good point. But obviously, this Angela Smith, she's made a boo-boo. She obviously didn't mean to say it. She's come out, she's apologised. And at that point, that's when me, in independent media, go, okay, that's enough making fun of Angela Smith now. And I wouldn't have brought that up tonight in this stream had she not gone on Sky this morning and said this.
Let me just give you the opportunity to clarify something that you said on the BBC yesterday. I know that you misspoke. I know that it's not what you meant, but for the benefit of our viewers, apparently you've apologised for misspeaking after you appeared to refer to people from black, Asian and minority ethnic backgrounds as having a funny tinge.
No, and I obviously look.
I'm not laughing at her saying funny tinge. I'm laughing at the fact somebody who has just left a party because she says it's inherently racist, having to make an apology for a racist statement within 2 hours of launching that new party. I can't help it. That's hilarious. Oops.
Benefit of our viewers, apparently you've apologised for misspeaking after you appeared to refer to people from black, Asian and minority ethnic backgrounds as having a funny tinge.
No, and I obviously look. I never meant to say that. I misspoke.
First of all, if you really did mean to say that, of course you didn't mean to say that. Watch what she goes on to say. Okay, she's made her apology. That's it. Move on. Say you're very sorry. Move on. Don't make lame excuses. That's all she's got to do now. Don't make lame excuses and everything's going to be fine.
Really badly. I was very, very tired at that point. I'd had 6 hours of press engagement and I was very tired and I was very tired. I misspoke really, really badly and that's not who I am. I'm very...
How tired would you have to be to say, oh, people who are black or funny tinge? How tired would you have to be to say that?
Confident about that. It's not who I am. And I think anybody who knows me would verify that.
What were you trying to say?
Well, I'm not going to go into that. I mean, I was very...
Because you might say people of a funny colour or something like that.
Clearly, and I think I got there in the end and I made it clear that for BME communities in our country, and particularly women in BME communities, there are real problems that we have to address. That's all I was trying to say.
OK, it's good to talk to you, Andy.
OK, all right. Just a little point. If you have to make an apology, don't make an apology about something and then the very next time you're on television make an excuse for what you did that you've already apologised for, because then people like me are really going to go to town on you, Angela Smith, which unfortunately is exactly what I'm going to do now, because to me that shows somebody who, she says there that's not who she is. The thing is, people like me looking from the outside think, you know what, Angela, it's exactly who you are. And although you might think that you do not hold racist views, it's clear to people like me that you actually do. And it's clear to people like me that you don't understand really what racism is, and you certainly don't understand what anti-Semitism is. Now, let me just show you somebody who really does understand what anti-Semitism is. And this is somebody who is a Jew. And you may have noticed that people in America have been hit with the anti-Semitic smear card recently as well. I haven't got the slide actually ready. I'll put it up here. But Ilhan Omar recently made comments about how it's wrong that Israel's lobby in America has so much sway over American politics and how American politicians think and act. And she said this very succinctly, And then somebody from Forward magazine, who I have covered on this channel before, found out who she was. She's got a ridiculous name as well. She's a ridiculous person and a ridiculous name. She's editor of the Jewish magazine in New York called Forward. And she retweeted Ilhan Omar and said, words to the effect of, who does Ilhan Omar think is paying politicians in America to actually do this pro-Israel stuff? To which Ilhan Omar responded, AIPAC! It's like, of course it's AIPAC. It's the Israel pack over there, the major thing. And Glenn Greenwald then jumped in on the conversation, said something eloquent as Glenn Greenwald usually does, to which Ilhan Omar replied, it's all about the Benjamins, baby, which is something that, hey, people say. But because they're talking about money and they're not even talking about Jewish people. They're talking about money in the Israel lobby. That, they've said, is anti-Semitic. And it even got to the point where Donald Trump called on Ilhan Omar to resign, of which she didn't, and of which she then went on to do some brilliant grilling of Elliot Abrams, which I showed last week. But this is the person I'm talking about, who is a Jew, who explained what is going on with this anti-Semitism row, and explained perfectly, really, why people like Angela Smith are being anti-Semitic whilst also calling out other people for being anti-Semitic. Let me play this. I'm going to play it in full. I'm not going to interrupt. I'm just going to hide me behind the screen. I'm going to play this in full. But it's 2 minutes, 19 seconds long. Pay particular attention to the last 45 seconds as well. Katie Halper, by the way, has actually put credits on this. She's put subtitles on it so you can hear what she's saying, because obviously Laura Ingle and the other guy, who is a right-winger, are constantly trying to talk over her. I want to play this because it really will bring into context exactly why the things that Angela Smith is doing and this Maleficent 7 are doing is so toxic and so bad, not just for politics, but also for the country as a whole. So I'm going to play it in full for you. Enjoy. Katie Halper's on the right. Remember, this is Fox News. And by the way, Fox News, keep getting progressives on. Keep getting progressives on and you will go up in our estimation, because there's no way CNN or MSNBC would ever have Katie Halper or Cole Kalinske on their network. Fox News do it, which is great.
Katie, you say that Omar's comments are both not anti-Semitic, and you didn't have a problem, I imagine, with the first comments.
No, I mean, I have a problem with smearing her
fine.
as an anti-Semite. She said something, this is how anti-Semitic it was apparently. She said something that Thomas Friedman, major supporter of Israel, has said. Thomas Friedman said an applause that Bibi Netanyahu received was paid for by the Israel lobby. There's nothing anti-Semitic in there. What is anti-Semitic, though, if you want to talk about anti-Semitic tropes and playing into those, is what Kevin McCarthy, who along with Donald Trump is going after Omar, what he said in a tweet that he deleted. Soros and Bloomberg and Steyer were buying the election. Now that is an anti-Semitic trope that he definitely played into. He deleted the tweet, but he never apologized. Schumer has said things that are very Islamophobic, for instance, and no one asked him to apologize. There's this double standard.
But no pattern. You see no pattern among some of these newer congresswomen
if you speak out against
who seem
Israel,
to equate money
you're
with
equated
Jews.
with anti-Semitism. Chuck Schumer, for instance, said that there's no peace in the Middle East because Palestinians don't follow the Torah.
Katie.
Of course, we say it's our land. The Torah says it. But they don't believe in the Torah. So that's the reason there is not peace.
Which is theocracy.
The reason why there is a state of Israel is because the Jewish people were almost exterminated from the face of the globe, and they did not have a sanctuary place they could go to have their own state. There wasn't a state for Jews to be able to call their own.
And by the way, it's their,
and by the way, it's their, and it's their lands. We don't have to agree with absolutely every decision their government makes, but it is wrong to attack them as a people.
Well, no one attacked them as a people, luckily.
I just saw that tweet.
AIPAC. I'm a Jew. I'm a person. No one attacked me because I don't support AIPAC. Millions of Jews don't support AIPAC, and that's why there are all these alternatives.
But this is the problem.
Because Jews like me are really tired of having AIPAC, which is a very small but very powerful elite minority representation of Jews. It's very tiresome to have them claim to speak for all Jews and conflate Jewish identity with unquestioning support of Israel, which is an anti-Semitic trope in itself.
Let me just say this, Laura. This is the big dynamic.
It would be nice if Donald Trump had actually condemned the people in Charlottesville. And you, Matt, you work in this communications,
if I could please just answer.
Why didn't he condemn the people in Charlottesville?
Let's stay on
Okay, you guys, I gotta tell you.
Guys, stop. Jews in this statement.
Okay, it all goes to shit there, but I wanted to show that because there's Katie Halper saying something. Katie Halper, a Jewish person who lost family in the Holocaust, she's saying something extremely important that really people like Angela Smith and these Maleficent 7 could really learn from. Really, they really could, because what they're trying to do here is they're trying to equate any criticism of Israel as anti-Semitic. Now, inherently, what that means is people like Angela Smith, who call people racist and anti-Semitic for criticising Israel's policies towards Palestine, or Israel's apartheid policies towards the West Bank, etc., and Palestinian people. If we could, what she's saying is criticism of them is criticism of that is anti-Semitic. Now, inherently, what therefore Angela Smith is saying is that all Jewish people agree with what Israel is doing in their treatment of the Palestinians. Now, what that is an anti-Semitic trope. Katie Halper has just eloquently pointed that out, and I wish, to be honest, I had made the connection before she had said it on Fox. It's obvious. She's basically saying all Jewish people condone what we're doing in Palestine, therefore what you're doing is attacking Jewish people. That is an anti-Semitic trope, because guess what? All Jewish people do not condone Israel's actions in Palestine. And it's about time people like Angela Smith understood this. And for God's sake, it's about time our media actually stood up and started reporting on this in the fucking correct way. Because I am sick of them letting anybody who will go on television and slander and smear members of the Labour Party and other parties as well who are critical of Palestine, of Israel's treatment of Palestine. I am sick of the media allowing those voices on that do nothing but slander and smear those people as anti-Semitic without actually standing up and pointing out, no, this is what's happening here. This. And I'm going to give you an example right now of how the media don't do that, and they actually do the opposite and help the people making those anti-Semitic slurs against people they're accusing of racist. I know that sounds a bit convoluted. It's Kira Grisham Murphy. I think I've pronounced his name right there. It's Krishnan Guru Murphy. And he said this on Twitter. He said this on Twitter. Yesterday, Angela Smith, today Ruth George. In the news cycle of MPs say something racially/religiously dodgy, and then shortly afterwards apologises. Here's another, and he's pointing there to a tweet by Politics Home saying that a Labour MP has apologised after claiming, the Labour MP Ruth George has apologised after claiming the new independent group of MPs could be supported by Israel. Do you see what he's just done? Do you see what Krishnan Guru Murphy has just done with that tweet? It's a sleight of hand, I know, but basically what he's saying here is a Labour MP, who said that these Maleficent 7 that broke up the independent group could be supported by Israel. Krishnan Guru Murphy has associated that with something raciously/religiously dodgy. He's helping it. It's not raciously or religiously dodgy to suggest that 7 members of the Labour Party who have left the Labour Party, all 7 members of which were in Labour Friends of Israel, could be funded by the Israel lobby or Israeli money, especially Krishnan Guru Murphy, as you work for Channel 4, a company that did segment after segment on the Israeli lobby's meddling tactics in UK politics. So you work for an organisation that knows all about it, yet you're there on Twitter saying basically that anybody who says it happens, you're linking it to being raciously/religiously dodgy. Krishnan, I hate to point this out, but using Katie Halper's logic, which is, I think, flawless. I think it's perfect. Are you trying to imply criticism of the Israeli lobby tactics in the UK is anti-Semitic? Or are you really just made a mistake? Because I can't find anything that's racially or religiously dodgy in saying that Israel might be funding this new independent group. That's not racially or religiously dodgy. Krishnan, it's not. What you're doing now is borderline anti-Semitic, and it needs to stop. I, for one, am fed up of the media doing this. And it seems they just keep doing it over and over and over again. I've done an example of the BBC, caving to the Israeli lobby all along. Who can remember when they changed the title of one of their headlines at the BBC? That was accurate. It was accurate. People understood it. Then they got a complaint from the Israel lobby, and it changed within minutes to something that you just couldn't understand. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to point out. I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of people using the anti-Semitic smear as a defense whenever people criticize Israeli policies. I'm fed up of it. People like Angela Smith need to understand that saying Jews are responsible for what has happened in Palestine and criticizing Jews for what has happened in Palestine and Israel's anti-Semitic policies towards Palestinians, that is anti-Semitic. That is totally anti-Semitic, and that is just, it's horrendous, and it should not be done. Criticizing Zionists for the treatment of Palestinians, that's obligatory. And this is what people like Angela Smith need to bloody understand before, she makes any more gaffes and goes on TV shouting about racism and then ends up making another racist comment. All right, that's it. That's all I want to do on that. Yes, Nicky M says it's not racially or religiously dodgy. It's asking a fucking question. How can we not do that anymore? I totally agree. That is Krishnan Guru Murphy. Now, I've retweeted it and asked the question. I'm sure he's not going to fucking respond to me. After all, I'm a nobody. If I had a blue check mark, maybe. But the chances of me getting a blue check mark on Twitter are slim to none. But no, he's just going to leave that up and let it water off his duck's back, and nobody's going to say a goddamn thing about it. Whereas if a million people got on his back, come on, defend what you just said. Explain how saying they might be funded by Israel is racially or religiously dodgy, Krishnan. Because it's not. You are dealing in anti-Semitic tropes yourself by doing that. Stop that. It's silly. It annoys me that Krishnan Gurumurthy, this is not a stupid guy. This is somebody who's highly intelligent and who has had decades of experience doing what he's doing. So he obviously should know. He should. And if he does know, then what he's doing in that tweet is gaslighting. Joe Hickey says, all of my Jewish friends are anti-Likud Party and anti-Bibi Netanyahu and anti-Israel. Obviously, they have no intention of leaving Britain and making it worse. I got called, No, I won't go into it. I'll probably go into that. Somebody actually made a comment today. I will go into it. Somebody made a comment and said, I haven't seen you for 6 months. Are you still scared of saying the word Jew or Zionist? And you know what? I thought it was a really astute comment, because if he hasn't seen me for 6 months, I think back then I probably was. I probably was erring on the side of caution, because I didn't want to get my legs cut from under me before I'd even learned to walk, you know? I didn't want to say something and then for an army of Israeli bots to be complaining about me and have my channel wiped off YouTube. We've seen it over and over, you know, with other people. For instance, you know, Abby Martin goes on the Joe Rogan show. Look at how many downvotes there are on Abby Martin's videos when she's on Joe Rogan. The Israeli bots just go there and attack her and downvote everything, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not big enough at the moment. I wasn't big enough 6 months ago with 3,000, 4,000 subscribers for anybody to care if that happened. If they did, you know, get me wiped off YouTube by saying anti-Semitism, blah, 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 because it does happen. 6 months later, now I couldn't give a shit. Now I'm after them. Now I know they're going to shut down my channel at some stage, so fuck them. I'm not going to give them any excuse, but I'm certainly not going to rein in what I want to say for fear of getting deplatformed, because let's face it, they're going to do it sooner or later. And there's a story I'm doing tomorrow on that very thing. It's around the corner. It's not months away. It's literally round the corner now. And unless we actually get our governments to do something and actually rein these large social media companies in and regulate them and do it in the right way as well, we're screwed.
But they're private companies, they can do what they want.
Shut up. Richard Ayoade took Guru Murphy apart. He's a plum. Says it was all a dream. Richard Ayoade is a really intelligent guy. Really dry. Oh God, somebody's just mentioned Ruth Smith. Jess Phillips won't join the independent group. Somebody's just said Jess Phillips will join the independent group. No, she won't. Ruth Smith might. CIA informant Ruth Smith. We found out through WikiLeaks. Did you know that, by the way, everybody? Ruth Smith, Labour MP, protected source of the CIA. WikiLeaks showed us. Yeah. Freedom of speech is bullshit. What we need is freedom to speak, says Oz Whistles. I totally agree with you, buddy. I totally do. Just read Bernie is up for re-election, says Michel Diaz-Nossetti. He sure is. But that's not the story I'm doing next. That's the one after. Let's go into this story, actually, because this is one I want to... It's only a small story. This is not a big one. That's what she said. Hi everyone. So fans of this person will know this story already. I'm talking about the journalist Rania Khalek, who, amongst other things, she's a great journalist. Amongst other things, she puts together, she works for In the Now. They do those viral videos on Twitter and Facebook and social media that sort of exposes Western imperialism and exposes the war machine. Well, CNN have colluded with Facebook to suspend them. Always the mainstream media, isn't it? Always the mainstream media who are doing this. So I'm not going to go into the story or videos, etc., etc. I'll just give a quick outline of the story. Basically, what happened is, actually, there is an independent story. So to show what happened, I'm going to go to this Shadowproof. This is a independent website that I've literally just found. That Rania Khalek actually retweeted out. And you can see here, they've actually put a disclaimer that this is an independent website. And there's a reason that they've put that disclaimer there first, because the title of this is How CNN Led Facebook to Censor Pages of Russia-Backed Video Company and Manufactured News Story. And there's Rania Khalek there sitting. I'm just going to read the first couple of paragraphs here, if you don't mind. It says, CNN went in search for a story about a Russian-funded digital media project that produces viral videos aimed at undermining American democracy. There's talking here about In the Now. I've shared their videos in the past. They are excellent. When the journalists, though, that were investigating In the Now could not find what they were looking for, they effectively manufactured the news story by giving Facebook a pretext for removing the project's pages used to share videos. And now the cable news network had their story. 4 CNN journalists, it took them 4 to write that report. It took 4 of them. You know, I think it took 4 to write the report for the tech. CNN Tech, when they did that hatchet job on Jimmy Dore as well. Why does it take 4? Quote, Russia is backing a viral video company aimed at American millennials, end quote, it said. It appeared online late in the day on February the 15th and broke the news that Maflick Media had their Facebook pages for 3 video channels suspended. Well, here's the thing. They aren't required to do what CNN were informing Facebook that they weren't doing. Let me explain. They obviously went after In the Now and started looking at all their videos to dredge up some crap on them, to find maybe something that In the Now was reported on or said in one of their videos that was wrong, inaccurate, misleading or false news. When they couldn't find it, they started to go after them, the company personally. And what they found was the Facebook page for In the Now did not say that it was funded by Russia or the Russian government. You might see that you get that when you go to RT on YouTube. The thing is, everybody knows that In the Now was funded by Russia. It's not a secret. It was in the open. And furthermore, Facebook does not require pages to actually put a disclaimer on there that they're funded by anywhere, let alone state media. So, In the Now didn't have to do it. Nobody else did either. Al Jazeera don't have to, their Facebook page doesn't have to say that they are fully funded by so-and-so. Any Facebook page that is funded by a business or a company, they don't have to do it on Facebook. So essentially, CNN complained about that to Facebook, and Facebook suspended In the Now from their platform. As I put in this tweet, I couldn't believe it. Because they weren't doing something on Facebook that nobody else was doing, which wasn't required or against the rules. And that's what they were suspended for. And it's always the frigging media, the mainstream media, who are fueling this attack on anti-war voices and independent media, isn't it? It's always the mainstream media that are starting it. Think about it. Do you remember the Bernie bot groups? Rachel Maddow. I'll add the stuff up here in the post edit. Rachel Maddow. This is how I was introduced to Rachel Maddow. This is how I found out about her, because of this episode that she did on Russian bots infiltrating Bernie groups. I was one of the internet marketers who had bots in the groups. Me. I had over 800 of them, me and a partner. So instantly I knew what Rachel Maddow was saying was fucking bullshit, because what she was saying was what I was doing and what my friends were doing in these groups was Russian propaganda. And it wasn't. And a lot of the people that she was saying, oh, these accounts are coming from Macedonia and are coming from Albania. She was saying, oh, they're doing them for nefarious reasons. No, they're doing them to make money, you stupid, crazy bitch. They're internet marketers. It's an internet marketing campaign. This is how I was introduced to Rachel Maddow. I'm going to do a longer video on this at some point because it's a pattern. But That's how I was introduced to her. And it was, remember, it's the mainstream media that started that story. Blatantly false, but it certainly did stir up a lot of anti-Russia theory on Facebook. Pretty soon afterwards, people in the chat are going to agree with me, especially if they were in Bernie groups in 2016. Pretty soon afterwards, you could not spend 30 frigging seconds on Facebook and make any sort of comment on Facebook that was not 100% favour of the oligarchy and Hillary Clinton, or you were instantly smeared as a Russian bot on Facebook. I used to get called it 2,500 to 100 times a day around that time. That's the sort of hysteria that was whipped up by Rachel Maddow and the media. And it didn't stop there. It carried on. The Wall Street Journal, remember, they were the ones who then attacked Google. They attacked Google for advertisements preying on pro-ISIS channels or channels that were pro-Nazi. Obviously, this was 1 or 2 or 3 isolated instances out of billions and billions and billions of hours of content that are uploaded to YouTube and Google every day. But the Wall Street Journal made a big deal out of it. Next thing you know, YouTube have cancelled pretty much their advertisement on their platform, and independent media like Carl Kalinsky, like David Pakman, like, you know, others like David Dole, like Mike Figueroa, not so much David Pakman, but independent media struggled badly and nearly had to fold. And if it wasn't for the audience giving them money through Patreon and funding them, they would have gone under. Again, that was the media starting that attack. And then, of course, there was the CNN Tech article that they did on Jimmy Dore, putting him into articles that include Nazis and paedophiles and stuff like it. I remember Cenk Uygur saying, "You monsters." And I remember thinking, you know what, Cenk, I don't agree with you a lot anymore, but you're damn right there. It was monstrous what they did. Saying he's far left. He's far left. Why? Because he likes unions and he wants everybody to have healthcare. Oh, well, he must be far left then. Again, it was the media that started that attack on him. And then, of course, we come to the big free speech issue over the last year, and that's the deplatforming of Alex Jones. Who led that? Who led it? It was CNN again, going through all minute by minute videos that he'd done years previously. 20 years of material he's got there. CNN were having their researchers go through it and try and find every instance they possibly could where Alex Jones said something crazy that wasn't true, or something that slightly broke the rules. And it was CNN that got Alex Jones deplatformed. They were the ones who cheered it on. It's the goddamn media that are doing it. Why? Because we threaten them. People like Rania Khalek, although she's not independent, she's obviously funded by Russia, but she threatens them because she's exposing the media's lies. And the very people that she is exposing are leading the attack to get them silenced. Now, I know our country and our government, and in the government in the US, are trying desperately at the moment to rein in social media, so they think, and I keep seeing articles on the BBC saying, oh, social media, YouTube are advancing this or that or the other that's bad, and it's all it's all going to be used to silence our voices, to silence independent media. So for you politicians who are out there and you are saying, oh, we need to reform the media, stand up for us. We goddamn need it, because we're facing an onslaught at the moment from the likes of CNN and the established media who have been lying routinely to you and I for decades and cheering us on to every single war that has killed tens of millions of people. We don't do that. We tell you the truth. People like Rania Khalek tell you the truth. And this is why they're such a threat to people like CNN. And this is why they attack us relentlessly. And this is why now, as I say, they've been going after Google, they've been going after Facebook, they've been going after Facebook again. And now, as I touched on previously, they're doing now exactly the same thing with Reddit and Bernie groups in Reddit. And what do you know? It was February the 14th this came out, just 4 days before Bernie Sanders announced his run for president. What do you think they are going to be using this now as? This is out there. This is going to be the article that other people are going to start to reference, and this is going to grow. And then all of a sudden, Reddit is going to be, the voice is going to be silenced on Reddit as well. Mark my words, it's coming, and it's the mainstream media that are going to be leading the charge to get us silenced. It has to stop. It's bloody evil, is what it is. And we've got to fight back against these bastards, because if they carry on the way they are and we don't win this fight, we could very well all be wiped off the face of the fucking planet. Big up. Hi everyone. There's no money in peace, Gordon. There's Larry Povey. I know, mate. I know. If there was, what a world we would live in. Made me sweat that. I went on a bit of a rant then, didn't I? I'm going to come to this last story quickly, everyone. How long we've been going an hour, and I don't want to make this a big long 2-hour one. I've got one more story I want to do, and then I want to get off and get in my. I bought a pair of pajamas. I had a pair of pajamas bought me for Christmas. This isn't the story, by the way. I'm not going to release this as a video. But I had a pair of pajamas bought me for Christmas. My mom actually bought me a pair of pajamas. And I don't wear pajamas. I never have. Not since I was like 6 years old. But I wore them. And I thought these are really quite nice. And at night time, sitting there on Christmas evening, I thought these are nice. And I wore them the next day. I thought these are so nice. I'm going to buy another pair. So I went and I bought another pair of pajamas. A week later, I'm walking around in my pajamas, and I bought some new socks as well because it's Christmas. I had them bought for me. Men always get socks at Christmas. And I thought, I don't want to put holes in these new socks walking around on the wooden floor with, you know, a dirty wooden floor with socks. I thought, I'm going to buy some slippers. So I bought some slippers. First pair of slippers I've ever bought in my life. Honestly, I cannot wait to end this stream and put them on. One of these days you're going to see me stand up and I'm going to be wearing my pajamas and slippers. I'm just going to find them too comfortable. But yeah, basically the moral of the story is I've gotten old really, really, really fast because these slippers are the most comfortable things I've ever worn. I'm getting old. Anyway, I want to get to this. Let me set this up. On. Hi everyone, so it's happened. It's finally happened. Real. Start that again. Hi everyone, so he's finally done it. Bernie Sanders has launched his bid for the 2020 presidential race. I'm going to hide me and play his 1 minute and 58 second presidential launch ad for you, just in case you haven't seen it. Enjoy. Oops.
Real change never takes place. Real change never takes place from the top on down, but always from the bottom on up.
Bernie Sanders' healthcare for all idea is gaining steam.
Free tuition, free college tuition, free tuition champion, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders added, the greatest threat to national security is climate change.
The future of our planet is at stake.
Sanders taking on Amazon.
Bernie Sanders has been consistent hammering about income inequality.
Nobody in America works 40 hours a week, should be living in poverty. So our economy is rigged. We have a campaign finance system which is corrupt.
Sanders leading the charge to stop war against Yemen.
The first time ever the Senate has voted to end an unauthorized war.
The fight against injustice has been the work of his life.
Jobs and education, not jails and incarceration. We are not going to retreat on women's rights.
Sanders pushing a bold agenda that includes protecting DACA recipients and comprehensive immigration reform.
You don't rip little children away from the arms of their mother.
A major announcement from Amazon. Amazon will raise its minimum wage to $15 an hour. 350,000 workers.
Thousands of workers at Disney World will get raises.
It's a victory for Bernie Sanders.
It's a victory for all workers. Brothers and sisters, we have a lot of work in front of us. If we are prepared to stand together, there is no end to what the great people of our nation can accomplish.
I forgot that my microphone was muted. I'm sorry about that. So that was really inspiring. When I was preparing this live stream, I thought what I'll do is I'll play that and then I'll compare it to Kamala Harris's, or Kamala Harris, however you want to pronounce her name, because they are like night and day. Whereas Bernie is there, you know, championing policies and championing and talking about things that really do affect people. Voters, ordinary people. Kamala Harris is there with buzzwords like trust and future and hope, and it was pathetic. I was going to show you, you know, the differences, but I thought, what's the point? I don't need to. You only need to see this, because if you want to understand just how powerful this man's reach is, think about this. You saw that video. You saw 350,000 Amazon workers that he got wage rises for. 350,000 workers he got wage rises for by tackling and going head to head with the richest man in the world and the biggest organization in the world, Amazon, or one of the biggest companies in the world in Amazon. And because of his tireless work, because of his tireless actions, 40,000 workers in the United Kingdom got raises to £9.50 an hour in this country, £10.50 in London. And when you think the minimum wage at that time, it's going up in April, but the minimum wage is less than £8. That means that 40,000 workers in the United Kingdom, if they were on minimum wage, and I dare say they were, because this is Amazon, remember, got a 20% pay rise because of something Bernie Sanders did in America. I put it to the Conservative Party, I highly doubt in the last 8 years you have managed to give 40,000 workers a 20% pay rise, especially 40,000 of the poorest people in this country. You've had 8 fucking years to do it. Bernie Sanders did it just with one task that he pulled off last year. That's how powerful this guy is. And I want to go into the people that are running for president. This was in the New York Times, because you can see here there's a list. I mean, half of the Democratic Party are going to run or something like that. There could end up being something like 25 candidates. They're even talking about splitting the debate schedule up into 3 groups, which if the DNC are going to do that, you can bet your ass they're going to be splitting it into 3 groups as best way as possible to protect the likes of Kamala Harris, which it looks like she's the Hillary endorsed anointed one from the DNC. Kamala Harris, by the way, is a cop. Go ask Beth Lynch. She'll tell you all about it. Kamala Harris, you know, where is she? There she is. She's the one who, when she was district attorney, her staff found 1,000 instances of foreclosure fraud by Steve Mnuchin and his bank, One West Bank that he was at the time. They said we found 1,000 instances of foreclosure fraud, and if we looked, I dare say we'd find 1,000 more. And she didn't prosecute them. She didn't prosecute them for throwing house owners out on the street after the financial crash fraudulently. She didn't prosecute them. And then when she was up for the re-election, Mnuchin gave her a $3,000 campaign donation. The only Democrat he's ever, or the only Democrat he donated to in that election cycle. And now he's going on and he's Secretary of the Treasury, ruining the economy. You know, if there are no repercussions for people who commit crimes and commit white-collar fraud like that, guess what? It's going to happen again and again and again and again. And the very one of the very people who've been responsible for it, Kamala Harris, is the Democrats' big hope. This is what I hope. This is what I hope happens. And you know what? Tulsi's my favourite. Tulsi's the one who I'd like to see as president. But if it was the other way around and it was Bernie who won it and she ended up vice president, I think whoever wins, the other is going to end up on the ticket, if you know what I mean. I think whoever out of those two wins, the other will end up on the ticket. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be so disappointed, and so is every other Tulsi-crat and Bernie-crat out there. But this is who they're going to be afraid of. These two. And if you combine Bernie's democratic socialist message that you just heard in that campaign video that he's just shown, that I just showed you, if you combine his populist message at home with her message of peace and message of ending these regime change wars, these two are going to light up those Democratic primaries. And I, for one, I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it as well, because the eyes of the world will be on the DNC in this primary. So they are going to try their best to rig it. And it's our job in independent media to expose it when they do, because it's inevitable. It's inevitable that the DNC are going to do everything that they possibly can to stop these two people getting into the White House in 2020. And I keep saying this. I keep saying it over and over, and I'm not going to apologize for it. The conservatives over here and the Republicans over there in America, they're not the ones that are stopping a progressive movement. They're not the ones who are stopping a Bernie-led policy at home. They're not the ones, the Republicans and the conservatives over here, they're not the ones who are stopping a Tulsi foreign policy or Corbyn government over here. They're not. It's not the Republicans, it's not the Tories. It's the centrist Democrats and it's the Blairites. They are the last line of defence, for the establishment against a populist government, both in the United States and back at home in the UK. And I, for one, am going to be really looking forward to that last line of defence crumbling and people like Kamala Harris giving their concession speech. Really looking forward to it. And I'm hoping you are too. Bernie2020, Tulsi 2020. Don't mind who wins. Either one. I'm fine. By the way, let's just go through this. Let's bring this up. Because I want to... I'm wondering how can I do this. These are all the people, look, who are running for president so far, just on the Democratic side, 2020. Look at it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 people have declared already. I don't know all of them. There's a few of them I've never bloody heard of. I've never heard of. I think that Castro I'd never heard of. That Buttigieg I'd heard of him. I don't know really what he stays. There's a lady up there, Williamson. I don't know what she is. I've heard about a lot about Yang, and obviously I know about the rest. The third choice is Elizabeth Warren, by the way, for progressives. For anybody who isn't up on progressive politics, the third choice is Elizabeth Warren. She's she's really good tackling finance fraud. She's really good tackling. She really goes after Wall Street big, and her campaign launch video was really good as well. She really did attack the policy. Kamala Harris is the DNC's golden child. I would say Gillibrand is sort of probably the fourth most progressive of all the candidates. Gillibrand, it's good and bad with Gillibrand. Gillibrand actually has, and I've checked into this, she has a really excellent voting record that goes back really quite some time. She was for Medicare for All in the 2000s. So she's got a really good voting record, but the thing with Gillibrand is it comes with a lot of baggage, and she is really tied to Wall Street. For instance, before she even launched her presidential campaign, she went to Wall Street first to ask how they would react to it. You know, so it just shows you that's Kirsten Gillibrand. She's sort of the fourth most progressive, but she's a way behind the three of Warren, Sanders, and Tulsi. So I just wanted to give you that update. That is the state of the presidential 2020 race right now. And, you know, by the way, America, to people in the UK, we just don't get it, you know. Our election process is like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. You know what? We got 2 elections in 3 years the other year. We got 2 elections. We got one in 2015, one in 2017, didn't we? 2 in 2 years or something like that. There were people in this country who were like, oh God, not another election. Over in America, it's just, it never stops. You've only just stopped the midterms. You were 18 months campaigning for the midterms. That stopped in November. You've had December off, and now you're talking about campaigning for president in November next year. How the fuck do any of these MPs or these politicians get anything done if they're spending all the time on the campaign trail? Boggles the mind. But yeah, anyway, come on, America, sort it out. You can't just have elections all the frigging time. You don't get anything done. Alright, see you here. Jamie Rose says, please can you start setting yourself a half-hour timer to remind people to hit the like button? I'm sorry, Jamie, I've got enough to do, mate. You're more than welcome to do it there. Yeah? You're sitting there probably with your feet up, with your trotters up, having a beer. I'm working my ass off here. You want me to set up a timer? Trump 2020. Contrary to mainstream media, Britain loves you, Donald, says Ramsden Monteith. Yeah. Can't believe it, Trump. Britain doesn't love you, mate. Some do. I'm a proud Tulsicrat, says Chell Brandon. So am I, Chell. So am I. I jumped on the Tulsa train back. Well, it's got to be early 2017. Before I even started this channel, I was a big fan. POTUS Sanders, Vice President Nina Turner, and Nina Turner, Tulsi Secretary of State. You know what? That'd be cool, Darren O'Leary. President Sanders, VP Nina Turner, who's brilliant, and Tulsi Secretary of State. Tulsi could probably, actually thinking about it, Tulsi could probably do better work as Secretary of State and more work with regards to foreign policy than Vice President, that's for sure. Do you think? Just a good morning from Sydney, Gordon, says Genio Choi. Top of the morning to you, Cabba. Throw another shrimp on the barbie, good dude. Gordon Dimmack, Bernie backed Hillary. Any thoughts? That's why Tulsi's ahead. you know, obviously Tulsi's my favourite, but Bernie's second, and the reason is, listen, when it comes to a progressive populist vision at home, Bernie's your man. When it comes to a progressive populist vision for foreign policy, then Tulsi is obviously your best choice. Have the two of them, and then you've got the best of both worlds. The problem is with Tulsi, she's got a track record of, right, okay, she resigned from vice chair of the DNC because she could see how they were treating Bernie, didn't like it, resigned to actually endorse Bernie. That is, in progressive mind, okay, that's a woman who sticks by her values and has got morals, and, you know, and unlike Tom Perez, who says, we lead with our values and we put hope on the ballot, Tulsi actually does lead with her values and has morals, you know. Tom Perez does like his platitudes there. She really does mean what she says. Whereas with Bernie, he's got the baggage, as Two's Time actually says there. He's got the baggage of A, getting cheated by the DNC and then being folded into their party, but most importantly, bending the knee to Hillary Clinton. I think that was the point. It stuck in Bernie supporters' throat. That did. And you know what? I can see why. I did. Yeah, so yeah, Bernie's got the baggage. Somebody sent me a super chat, didn't they? And I think I missed it. Let me find out where it is. Yeah, somebody sent me a super chat and I missed it. I will have to let me find it, guys. I don't want to miss anybody sending me messages and whatever that they're paid for and not have them read out. Oh, this has all gone blank. I can't see anything that you're saying. I wonder if I can F5 it. Hang on. I'll be back. So yeah, what you were saying to us, Tom, yeah, he bent the knee to Hillary, didn't he? And that's going to stick in a lot of people's throat. And I think rightly so. The super chat. For Gordon. That's all it said. That's by Pengelly. Thank you very much, Pengelly. Every bit helps. And boy, do we need your help. They are coming after us. I mean, you know, the way they're going after just anybody who's anti-war. And it's the mainstream media that are leading this charge. It's them who are front and center. You know, it's them who are the opening wave. We've got to fight back about it. We can't let them win this. It's too important. We can't let them win it. Otherwise, we're going to end up. I mean, you know, we're living in an Orwellian nightmare at the moment. You don't want it to get worse. And if you think it can't, you haven't been paying attention, because we can. Yeah, it was Pengelly. Some super chat was a thumbs up, not a question. Forget it was from, says Nicky M. Yeah, it's Pengelly. Pengelly. Media has a Tulsi blackout here. Beer says B Green. I hear TYT aren't even covering her. How can TYT not be covering Tulsi Gabbard with her anti-war platform? People keep saying they're not covering her. Does someone want to go WILKIES, says Hoppy Rabbit. I'm not actually saying that word because she will. And it's like 11 o'clock at night, so... Bernie called Maduro a dictator. That lack of understanding of foreign policy realities bothers me, and it won't go away, says Keith Duran. It's the same with me as well, mate. There is a bit of me, Keith. I don't know whether you find this as well. There is a bit of me, such as, for instance, the tweets he did on Venezuela. The third tweet he did on Venezuela actually said, listen, we need to stop these regime change wars. But the first 2 weeks were basically reinforcing what the American policy was. The same happened with Russia, with the Russiagate stuff. He bought into the Russiagate stuff, but he didn't go all the way. It's not like he was in there hook, line, and sinker. He made statements and what have you. And it's not like he was banging on about it and it was a really anti-Russophobic voice. And so I can see that I can see that there is an argument to say, at least, that Bernie does this just because he knows if he doesn't, he's going to get a shitload of backlash from the media. There's an argument, and I think there are times when, you know what, I can see him doing that. And you've got to understand that Bernie, even though he's honest, he's still a politician. It's the same with Tulsi as well. You watch the interview with Tulsi Gabbard with Joe Rogan. And then you watch the way Joe Rogan talks to, I think it was Jimmy Dore in the interview, but he did an interview with somebody afterwards, and he's talking about that interview. And what he's saying he likes about Tulsi Gabbard is the fact that A, he thinks she's real, and B, he was defending her to say, no, Tulsi isn't what you're making out that she is because she's not saying something. Tulsi's careful with her words because she's intelligent, you know? And if you look at what she said, for instance, remember that video that I covered where she was talking about torture, and she was saying if there was a ticking time bomb situation, I would do anything to get my hands on that person and defend my country. And people were saying that's bullshit. That's smart. And you know what? The people who are saying it's bullshit haven't thought it through, I don't think. And I do mean Jimmy Dore and Carl Kalinske in this. I really do. I don't think they've thought it through because it's smart. First of all, she's not for torture. Before she went on to say that, she says, listen, obviously we have to respect human rights, and you can see that she's anti-torture. But by giving that hypothetical situation back in 2014, 2015, Writers 24 was hitting the height at the end of its run, you know, where Jack Bauer was running around fucking torturing everybody and getting the information. Half the time, Jack Bauer just gets information by saying, where is the weapon? You're silent? Where is the weapon? Still silent. And then he shouts the question and the guy goes, okay, the weapon's in the bin or whatever it is. But yeah, it was around that time of 24. So people were well averse with this ticking time bomb situation. And they would think, yeah, I want my president to go medieval with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch in that situation. Now, it's a hypothetical situation. We're never going to get into that. But it does placate those who are indoctrinated by the media to say, oh, torture does work, even though we know it doesn't. And I can tell you, even though I know torture doesn't work, right? Here, I can tell you, even though I know torture doesn't work, if somebody kidnapped this little girl, right, and was standing in front of me and told me that she was attached to a rope and she was drowning in a river and the tide was coming in and there was an hour before this little girl was... You're damn right I would torture that guy. I would get medieval with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch, and I dare say you would too if your dog was being held in that situation. It doesn't mean that you're pro-torture. You're giving a hypothetical situation and you're answering it honestly. And those people who are saying you're anti-torture, we're anti-torture too, right? But, those people are saying we're anti-torture under any circumstances, and Tulsi is wrong to saying that. You know what? If your dog was kidnapped, would you want to torture that person? If he was going to die in an hour because the tide was coming in and you knew that person? Of course you would. It's fucking smart for Tulsi to be saying what she's saying there. And I understand. I also understand this is back in 2014, 2015. And you know what? 4 years is a week is a long time in politics, let alone 4 years. And opinions can really radically change in that time. And I'm sure opinion is less pro-torture than it was back in 2014. And as a result, because Tulsi's smart, I'm sure she will rein in what she says in accordance to it as well. Remember, this is why she's got cross-party appeal, because she's smart. The dog left because she knew the analogy was good over. She's well trained. Well trained, aren't you, baby? Eh? I love this girl, I really do. Go on lie down. Good girl. Joan Ryan, Enfield North, has become the 8th Labour MP to quit the party. Great. Joan Ryan, Enfield North. Joan Ryan, who was caught on the lobby by Al Jazeera that was released to us by the Electronic Intifada. Joan Ryan, by the way, who was caught on that video lying about a... Nikki will remind you in the chat about this. She was lying about... Let me get this right. She was saying somebody else was making anti-Semitic comments to her, about her, complained to the Labour Party about that person, not realising that Al Jazeera were filming it undercover for the Israeli lobby, and that actually cleared the other person and showed Joan Ryan to be a cast iron liar. That's who Joan Ryan is. Nikki, tell me if I'm right. I'm absolutely certain that's right. So, yeah, Joan Ryan who accepted, I don't know the details, so I won't get into it, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, there was a lot of money involved. She was talking about it in that Israeli lobby documentary. So, yeah, if she's number 8, again, it's no great miss, because all of those 8 people, when an election comes around, those 8 people will not win re-election. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if half of them don't even stand for re-election. I mean, shit. What's Luciana Berger got in common with the people of Liverpool? Seriously. Liverpudlians are going to look at her and think, yeah, okay. Okay. Come on then. I'm going to do a Liverpudlian accent now. Not fucking going to vote you in again. Gordon, how old is your dog? She'll be 6 in April, I think. Yeah, I think she'll be 6 in April. Yeah, thanks for that, Nikki. Yeah, I've got a few stronger words for Joan Ryan than a liar. Ian567 banned on Reddit, I believe, 2's time. I'm not sure whether it's been reinstated yet. But that, again, was what the Washington Times started attacking and going after blah, 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 blah. N56, 40,000 followers on Twitter, obviously does a lot of work on Reddit. He's a real wealth of information, especially with links to quality journalism and stuff that actually debunks, you know, Western media lies. And yeah, because of the investigation sort of by the Washington Examiner, I think it was, he ended up getting banned. I know that he's talking to the Reddit and they're talking about him getting reinstated. I don't know whether that's happened. But one thing's for sure, that article, that Washington Examiner article, that's not the last time we're going to see that story. They're going to stop. Other outlets are going to be picking that up very soon. Because they're really going to go after Reddit. Really going to go after Reddit. And you know what? When it comes to these Russian bot things, you know what? Just go over to Reddit. Go look at the subreddit UK politics. Go to the link that somebody put up in the UK politics and just look at it. It just says breaking foreign ministry. Breaking foreign ministry. BBC reporter Riyam Dalati admits Duma scene was fake, right? So BBC reporter Riyam Dalati suggests Duma hospital scene was staged. That's what it said, UK politics. You should see the responses. I went down and you sort of, you got the title there, response after response after response after response, all the way down. So the first like 20 responses, as soon as that is made, is like, come on, it's come from Russia. Oh, Russians, it came from Russia. And it's like, for fuck's sake, I could write the spin to put in to my program for my bots to say exactly what your bots are saying. And you can see it's blatant, absolutely blatant and obvious that these things are bots. They're bots being used by the UK. trying to discredit stuff from Russia, and all the Russian foreign ministry are doing is quoting what a BBC reporter has said in the open that nobody in the UK mainstream will touch because they're all fucking useless and complicit in it. And then you've got the Russian foreign ministry doing a thread on Reddit in UK politics, and the UK bots go into UK politics saying, oh, it's come from Russia. Who's going to believe that? And you can see who the real people are, because the real people actually start going and they start talking. After all these 20 responses, the real people join in. And that's where I went and started joining and talking to people. And then all of a sudden the conversation started going. And then all of a sudden you get people talking to each other. And I want to end on this, guys. I'm gonna bring this up. I want to end the stream on this. I don't recommend you view or read things too often, do I? I don't think I do it over. I don't think I overdo it anyway. I don't think I do. But there's a journalist that I love, and I love her. It's Caitlin Johnston, as you know. I love her. She is my favourite writer, possibly of all time now. Certainly my favourite political writer. And if you have got 10 minutes after this stream or 10 minutes later in the week, bookmark this. I promise you, you're going to love it, because this is one of her latest articles. I've just dropped a link in the chat, and it's a little sort of adult children's story about Johnny and the media and the war machine. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. It epitomises everything why I love Caitlin Johnston. Caitlin Johnston's writing in her mind. And I retweeted it and said, for God's sake, please, please, please put this in an adult illustrated children's book. You know, you can get those. And somebody actually replied and said, okay, I'll get my illustrator on it. And so I don't know whether that's going to happen, but read that art. You'll love it. I promise you, you'll love it. You all will. Right. I'm out of here, guys. Yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'll edit these clips and these will be released over the next couple of days. I've got a full day of videos to do tomorrow. Hopefully I'll do 4 or 5, and that will take me up enough videos to drop from Friday, and then I can concentrate on Thursday of getting more guests on and more interviews. There are a few people that I want to just reach out to and ask, and we'll see. We'll see who says yes and who says no. Bugger off, you Russian bot. We'll see. Right, everybody, thank you very much for all your support, as always. I can't do this without you, and I'm really humbled by just all the nice words and the comments and the shares and how much you support me. It's just, you know, it's I can't thank you enough, and I can't explain just how much I appreciate it. I love you all. Peace. And you know what? Ellie loves you all as well, don't you, Ellie? Yes. See, she loves you all as well. Thanks, everyone. Peace. Take care.